Bobby Lewis was born in Indianapolis, Indiana in 1925. As a young child, he was adopted and moved to Detroit, Michigan, where he was introduced to the piano, which would later play a crucial role in his musical career. Lewis was drawn to rhythm and blues music and developed his singing talents while performing in small local venues. He started gaining recognition in the 1950s, performing on the Chicago music scene and establishing himself as a performer with a smooth, soulful voice. In the early days of his career, Bobby Lewis faced challenges breaking into the music industry, but his persistence paid off. He honed his craft by touring across the country, building a reputation as an energetic live performer. Lewis's influences included jazz, blues, and gospel, which he skillfully blended into his signature style. Despite limited early success, his break came in the early 1960s when he recorded a demo that would lead to his first major hit. Bobby Lewis's big break came in 1961 with the release of his classic single, Tossin and Turnin. The song was an instant hit and topped the Billboard Hot 100 chart for 7 weeks, making it one of the most successful singles of the year. Tossin and Turnin was notable for its catchy melody and relatable lyrics about sleepless nights over lost love. This hit propelled Lewis to national fame and cemented his place in music history. Lewis followed up with several more singles, including One Track Mind, which also charted in the top 10 in 1961. Although none of his later songs reached the heights of Tossin and Turnin, Bobby Lewis continued to enjoy a steady music career throughout the 1960s and beyond. His ability to blend R&B, pop, and soul allowed him to remain relevant as musical tastes evolved over the decade. Bobby became a regular on the live music circuit, performing his hits across the country. In addition to his vocal talents, Bobby Lewis was known for his piano playing, which was featured prominently in his recordings and live performances. His music was heavily influenced by the blues traditions of his early years, and he infused his songs with a sense of emotion and storytelling. This gave his music an enduring appeal, and even though he never matched the commercial success of his early hits, he remained a respected figure in the world of R&B. Bobby Lewis's career peaked in 1961 with the chart-topping success of Tossin and Turnin. It was a defining moment for him, as the song not only became a hit, but also achieved a lasting legacy in pop culture. The track has been featured in countless films, television shows, and commercials, making it one of the most recognizable songs of the early 1960s. Its success gave Bobby Lewis a prominent place in the era's music scene and connected him with fans around the world. In the wake of his hit success, Bobby Lewis was invited to perform on popular television shows such as American Bandstand, where his energetic performances introduced him to a broader audience. His appearances on television further solidified his status as a rising star in the music world. Tossin and Turnin also became a frequent addition to live set lists across the country, helping to keep the song in the public's mind. Throughout the 1960s, Bobby Lewis continued to release music, though none of his subsequent singles reached the heights of his early success. He remained a fixture in the live music circuit, performing at concerts and festivals across the U.S. His enduring popularity as a live act was due in part to his charismatic stage presence and ability to connect with audiences, even as musical trends changed around him. The lasting legacy of Tossin and Turnin allowed Bobby Lewis to maintain a long career in music, performing well into the 1980s. Even though his chart success was brief, his music found new audiences through oldies radio stations and compilations of classic hits. His peak years remain a memorable part of the early 1960s music scene, when R&B and pop were undergoing rapid changes, and his sound fit perfectly into that era of transition. As his career continued, Bobby Lewis often reflected on his early success and the lasting impact of his work. While he never recaptured the massive commercial success of Tossin and Turnin, he remained proud of the song's place in music history. His peak years as a performer solidified his position as a notable figure in the American R&B landscape. Bobby Lewis was born Robert Allen Lewis on February 17, 1925. He grew up in challenging circumstances, being placed in foster care before being adopted and raised in Detroit. Music was a significant part of his life from a young age, and he used it as an escape from difficult times. His early exposure to gospel music in church helped shape his vocal style, while his training on the piano further enhanced his musical skills. Despite his success, Bobby Lewis faced personal and professional challenges throughout his life. He had difficulty adapting to the changing music industry as rock and roll evolved and the R&B scene became more competitive. However, his ability to endure these challenges while continuing to perform and record music speaks to his resilience and passion for his craft. In later years, Lewis became a familiar face on the oldies circuit, often performing at nostalgia shows that celebrated the hits of the past. Bobby Lewis's life was filled with both triumph and struggle, but his love for music never faded. He lived through some of the most exciting times in American music history, witnessing the rise of rock and roll and the emergence of soul and R&B as dominant genres. His own contributions to that history were modest but impactful, with Tossin and Turnin remaining a beloved classic. Bobby Lewis passed away on April 28, 2020 at the age of 95. His legacy is remembered through the timeless appeal of his music, particularly his 1961 hit Tossin and Turnin, which continues to resonate with audiences to this day. Despite not achieving widespread fame in later years, Lewis's impact on the music world remains significant, particularly for fans of early R&B and pop music. In the years following his passing, Bobby Lewis's contribution to American music has been celebrated by fans and historians alike. His ability to capture the energy and emotion of a song with his voice has left an enduring mark on the R&B genre. Today, Bobby Lewis is remembered as a pioneering artist who helped shape the sound of early 1960s pop music with his unique blend of rhythm and blues.